Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, beloved friends. I am Correa, and we are delighted to be gathered together in all Kardec Radio platforms to study the divine laws. Why is it important to study the divine laws? Because we are ready in this lifetime to consciously choose to align ourselves with the loving proposal of the Creator. What is the loving proposal of our Creator for all of us? That we seek harmony, well being, and serenity within ourselves by serving others and doing the good. What better way to stay aligned with this divine proposal than by understanding how God guides all of us? No better way. Of course, all of this effort is guided by our divine shepherd, Master Jesus, through the loving efforts of Allan Kardec and the team of the Spirit of Truth, who brought to the earth the promised consoler. So we are honored to study such laws here together with each and every one of you. All of us can strengthen ourselves to make wiser choices as we learn to discern through God's loving lenses. So, with much gratitude, let us get started with our study tonight. Tonight, the focus of our study will be on question 899. We shall now read the question and read the answer by the illuminated spirits. Once we finalize reading both Kardec's question and the spirit mentor's answer, we will bring a couple of highlights to our attention. We will do an exercise together so we can feel the scriptures, and we will then finalize this prayerful study moments. We already begin by acknowledging the presence of the mentors, welcoming everyone, thanking everyone for forming this beautiful current of light. Also being aware that the mentors are right now operating upon us, inspiring us, giving us the healing embrace that we are in need of, attending to those in our network, as well as utilizing our thoughts and vibrations on behalf of those in greater need than ourselves. What a beautiful proposal from the on high. Let us begin the focus then of our study tonight. Let us open the Spirit's book and now read Kardec's question numbered 899. Kardec asks, of two wealthy individuals, one was born in opulence and has never known need, whereas the other owns his fortune to his own labor. However, both employ their wealth exclusively for their own personal satisfaction. Which one is more culpable? Very wise question by Kardec, so we can reflect upon our own choices, attitudes, and behaviors. Let us then read the illuminated Spirit's answers to guide our reflection. The Spirit Mentor's answer Kardec and all of us as follows. The one who knows or has known hardship, they know what it means to suffer, but they do not relieve it in others. As usually happens, they no longer remember their hardship. So, according to the mentor spirits that form the team of the Spirit of the Truth, we have now learned, dear friends, that we are more culpable or responsible for not utilizing our resources on behalf of the general good once we have already gone hardships and understand on a personal level how much those very resources are needed by others. But we may say, Carol, please give us a little break. The mentors are speaking only of wealthy individuals. We are not in this category, Carol. We don't fall into this category. Fair point, dear friends. Let us break then our reflection into two distinct parts. Part 1, reflecting upon those who are materially wealthy and reflecting upon how they may or may not distribute parts of their wealth towards the general good. Second part of our reflection, let us think about together other types of wealth as immortal spirits. We know that material wealth is a gift from God, but we also acknowledge that there are other types of wealth that we may possess and that we may be responsible for distributing as well. Let us begin with our reflection upon material wealth, however. This case of distribution of material wealth brings to our attention a particular account brought to all of us by Chico Xavier. Chico Xavier, when he used to attend to hundreds and hundreds of people in one single evening at his Spiritist Center, once came across this gentleman. And this gentleman was so touched by Chico Xavier's humility and dedication to the community at large that he once approached Chico Xavier personally and said, Chico, if I ever win the lottery, I shall donate a large portion of my fortune to the good, to this very Spiritist Center, because I see how well you distribute all the resources that come your way on behalf of others. So I would like to help if I ever win the lottery. Many years have passed, according to Chico Xavier himself, and the man, that very gentleman, lo and behold, did win the lottery. However, he at that point forgot about his promise or chose to leave that promise aside. Chico Xavier told friends and now all of us that every time the now newly wealthy gentleman would cross paths with Chico Xavier, he would remember the promise and would cross the street and change his route in order not to cross pathways directly with Chico Xavier, in order not to be asked of what he would do with his resources on a direct manner. So we see that this gentleman, as in Chico Xavier's account, is an example of what the mentors are here referring to in question 899. A spirit who had received the concession of God, materially speaking, that had the opportunity to channel at least part of it to the general good and chose not to, according to the divine laws written in our conscience. If we withhold God's resources purposefully, we are going to be judged by our own consciousness, meaning an inner alarm shall ring inside of us to remind us of our own responsibility as children of God that were called to serve. Emmanuel, through Chico Xavier, in the book Money, tells us that money is a blast tool to promote progress, and those who are granted greater financial resources, above average financial resources, have the calling from God and Master Jesus to learn to practice beneficence and charity by channeling the resources to those less materially fortunate. Yes. But then, dear friends, even being aware of Chico Xavier's true account and Emmanuel's interpretation of money as a divine resource, as a concession of God, as a divine talent, we may still argue, but Carol, truly, this does not apply to us at all because we don't have resources to spare. Okay, let us now then move to our second part of our reflection tonight. Let us meditate together upon other types of wealth that we may have been granted that are not necessarily of a financial nature. Can any of us here type in right now on the chat a form of wealth, a divine concession that we have been granted? Let us see, what can we together come up with? What is a form of wealth that we believe has been granted to us? Let us think together. One particular type of wealth that comes to us, that has been granted to us, is, for example, the wealth of intelligence, of intellect, of the ability to communicate. All of us here connected through these platforms are quite capable of communicating orally and through the written form. How much, however, do we utilize the gift, the blessing, the wealth of speech and the wealth of written communication to spread words of hope, to spread words of consolation, to spread words of joy, to spread words of wisdom, to spread the good news? Oh, but Carol, there is no spirit center near us at this moment. Okay, so we can take this up a notch. If there is present where we are, perhaps it is because Master Jesus, and of course, first of all, God is calling upon us to start a study group ourselves to spread the good news. After all, this is our second type of wealth, the wealth of Spiritism. Let us stop to reflect, dear friends. How many Spiritists are there who are able to communicate the good news, the promised consoler in the English language? Very, very, very few. Those of us who are here are blessed with this gift, with this great wealth. Chico Xavier used to tell us, all of us, that we are millionaires of the spirit because we know of Spiritism. And those of us who know of it in English are billionaires of the spirit because English is the current mostly used international language. So if we communicate the message of Spiritism in English, the message of hope, of consolation, of divine love that sustains us shall go even further than in other languages. So, therapeutic question for us. Here comes our exercise. How much have we been spreading the wealth of hope, of wisdom, of consolation, of joy of living that has been freely granted to us? Are we distributing this wealth or are we withholding it? But Carol, we are in the middle of the pandemic still. What shall we do? All of us, dear friends, can now spread the good news in easier ways than ever before because we are all journalists in the making. We can all use social media to spread the good, write a post of hope and love. We can write one quotation of kindness and hope from what we know and spread it on our social media platforms. We can share lectures that we watch on our platforms. We can invite friends to join us online as we are doing now. So, dear friends, the wealth, the talents, the hope that has been given to us can go very far, and now, very fortunately, within the reach of our fingertips. All we need is to press a button, and the good news will spread. So let us, first of all, beloved friends, recognize how wealthy we are, being grateful to God for the much that we have received. And let us also commit ourselves tonight to, within the next 24 hours, share consciously the wisdom that sustains us in our platforms. Let us be spreaders of the good news. For Master Jesus says, Emmanuel, in a message entitled The Spiritist Theme, says Emmanuel that Master Jesus calls each and every one of us to serve and to serve. Did you know that spreading the wealth of divine love of the promised consoler is a beautiful form of service? Emmanuel as well reminds us through Chico Xavier that spreading Spiritism is one of the greatest forms of charity. So let us spread our wealth in all directions, for Master Jesus is calling each and every one of us tonight. Let us answer the call, dear friends, as we continue to give graces to God for the many, many blessings that we receive every day. Thank you, dear friends, for the beautiful gift of your presence. A big hug from heart to heart. And we already look forward to seeing you again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more divine loss. Many beautiful blessings of joy and hope, dear friends, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.